Ooh, ooh. Look at the view outside. Isn't that nice? It's looking rather nice outside at the moment. What a lovely day we are having here in England. And I hope your day is going well too. Here we go again. Yes, it's English Addict once more. We are back again on YouTube. And yes, we are coming to you live from the birthplace of the English language, which just happens to be England. Hi everybody, this is Mr. Duncan in England. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you happy? Well, are you happy? I really hope you are feeling happy today. I am not feeling too bad because the weather outside is gorgeous. I don't know about you, but whenever the weather is nice, it always seems to make your mood better. So, despite everything that is going on at the moment, I do feel rather nice today. I will be honest with you. I feel rather happy and cheerful because the weather outside is rather nice. There it is again, a live view. So that is what England looks like at the moment. A lovely sunny day. Everything is looking very nice outside. I must be honest. It really does lift your spirits when the weather is like that. So we've got a gentle breeze. It isn't very warm today. However, the sun is out and everything is rather nice. Ooh. So here we go then. I hope you are feeling great wherever you are in the world, wherever you are watching. I hope you are feeling good. And I am here once again to reassure you that you are not alone. So it is the weekend, although for many of you it might feel as if every day is the weekend. But yes, we have made it through the weekend, almost. It's Sunday. So we've made it through to Sunday. I hope you are feeling okay today. I hope you are feeling good, because if you're not, well, I will try my best to cheer you up. Is that a deal? Do we have a deal there? Okay then, I like that. I like that very much. Of course, it wouldn't be the live stream without having also the live chat. Yes, you out there, you will have a chance to get involved with today's live stream. You can join in on the live chat. Talking of which, who was first on today's live chat? I wonder who was first. Shall we have a look? Okay then. Hello to Grace Chin. Hello Grace, guess what? You are first on the live chat. Congratulations to you. We are talking about some big subjects today. Of course, I don't need to mention that things are slightly unusual at the moment. Have you noticed? Have you seen on the news? There is something happening that is affecting the whole planet right now. However, I will try to be here as often as I can. I was with you yesterday. Did you see my very unusual live stream? Yesterday I was once more in the forest, isolating myself from everyone else, and I did a live stream yesterday. I'm not sure if I will be with you tomorrow. I might take a little rest tomorrow, because to be honest, doing live streams every day can be quite exhausting. So I'm not sure. Tomorrow I might take a rest. We will see what happens. Anyway, enough of tomorrow. We are now talking about today, because we have lots of subjects to talk about. we will be talking about one particular subject. We'll be talking all about survival. Yes, can you see it up there? There is the word on the screen, survival. I suppose this is a word that a lot of people might be talking about around the world for various reasons. Survival is the word we will be looking at. And you might be amazed to find out just how many ways we can talk about survival. And this is something that is on a lot of people's minds at the moment as we go through a very difficult and, dare I say, strange period of time. As I said yesterday, I have never lived through anything like this. The only thing I could probably say that this is like, and this is before my life began, is the Second World War. So during the war, I would imagine that life was very, very strange, very difficult, very odd. So this might be the first time since the Second World War that things for many people have been unusual or odd, or maybe a little bit stressful or unusual. So I think that there are many words that we can use to describe this period of time. We are living through very strange times, as I've mentioned before. Hello also to, hello, Sally, Sally. It's nice to see you here today on the live chat. Thank you for joining me again. Vitas is watching in Lithuania. Hello to you as well, Vitas. Nice to see you here on the live chat. Angela. Hello, Angela. Nice to see you here as well. If you want to tell me where you are at the moment, and if you want to tell me what you are doing during this period of time, so what are you doing to keep yourself happy, busy, amused, so you don't feel bored? Well, maybe one of the things you are doing is watching my live streams. I hope so. I will try my best to be here as often as possible. I really will. So here we go. I can't believe, look, episode 55 of English Addict. And the reason why I do this is because I like to teach English. My name is Duncan. Some people call me Mr. Duncan. Some people call me that idiot from up the road. What does my mother call me? Oh, yes, there are many names my mother calls me, and most of them I can't use here on YouTube, unfortunately. So that is what I do. I teach English, and I've been doing this for ever such a long time. Do you know how long I've been doing this for? How many years here on YouTube? 14. I don't believe it. And maybe you don't believe it, but it is true. I've been doing this on YouTube for nearly 14 years. Since the days when YouTube was just a little baby. So yes, a long time. Beatrice is here. Hi everybody, happy Sunday. Yes, it is Sunday. It's a fun day. It's time to improve your English listening. If you have a moment spare, maybe you are doing nothing at the moment, maybe you are sitting around in front of your computer, well, guess what? Stick around, because I will be with you for around about another hour and a half. Yes, a very long time, I must say. Will I survive? I don't know. We will find out at the end. Hello, Ramzanura. Nice to see you here as well. Hello also, Flower Supergirl. Hello, Supergirl. I am Pervane, or Pervan, from Azerbaijan. That rhymes. Did you notice that? It actually rhymes. It is like a poem. Zuzika is here. It's a Sunday. It is a fun day. Definitely. By the way, for those who are wondering, Mr. Steve Yes, of course, Mr. Steve will be here. Don't worry, he will be here soon. For those who like seeing Mr. Steve, well, you will be seeing Mr. Steve live. However, he is in isolation at the moment. I've had to put Mr. Steve in isolation because yesterday he went to see his mother, because this weekend in the UK it is actually Mother's Day today. So a big hello to any UK mothers who are watching right now. Maybe you are watching on your computer with your family. Don't forget, keep your distance. However, Mr. Steve yesterday went all the way to see his mother. And I was thinking maybe it's not a good idea. So what I've done today, I have put Mr. Steve in isolation. I've isolated him. So I'm not going anywhere near Mr. Steve today. You will see a little bit later on what I've done with Mr. Steve. He is not here in the studio. He will be somewhere else, locked away, out of harm's reach, as they say. So yes, Mr. Steve will be here later on. Mr. Steve, was there any need for that? Oh, disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. So Mr. Steve will be here. However, yesterday he went to see his mother. We will be taking a look at some photographs that Steve took yesterday with his mum. And they are rather fascinating photographs. So I will show those a little bit later on. We are going to have a look at Mr. Steve and his mum, and they were together yesterday. So that coming later on as well. How are you today? We are talking about survival, words, phrases, ways of describing survival, the things that we do to survive, the things we have to do. And I suppose at the moment there are many things that we are having to do to keep ourselves safe and secure. Jeff, hello Jeff. Jeff Rich, hi to you. And Jeff says hello to all the mothers watching today. Yes, hello to all the mothers, because it's Mother's Day. We call it Mother's Day, or we can also call it Mothering Sunday. So for all you mothers out there, for all you mothers watching at the moment, I hope you have a super duper day. Stay safe and don't eat all those chocolates at once, okay? I know that many mothers today will be eating chocolates, and maybe they will have some nice flowers on display in their window, so who knows? Hello Isabel. Hello Isabel. Hi everybody from a sunny and windy Barcelona. Nice to see you as well. Unfortunately, we are under this terrible situation. I hope you are all well and healthy. Well, I'm okay. I'm healthy. I have been keeping myself very far away from other people, including Steve, because he was out yesterday visiting his mother. I wasn't very sure if that was a good idea, to be honest. So I've put Steve into isolation today. That's what I've done. Tomek. Hello, Tomek. Hi there. I love the slogan, "You are not alone." It is so relevant to the current course of action. I am not alone. That's right. Because we have certain things following us around. I think you know what I'm talking about. Hello, Luis. Luis Mendez is here. Nice to see you as well. How are things in France? Things around the world are getting worse. Things are not improving. However, I always think that sometimes there are things that you have to say to yourself, things you have to think to reassure yourself that things aren't so bad. Especially if you're at home, Maybe you will have a chance to spend time with your relatives. Maybe you can talk to some of your friends on the telephone or through the internet. So there are many things you can do. Jimmy! Hello, Jimmy from Hong Kong. Yes, I am keeping my hands washed, and also I am becoming a clean addict. Yes, maybe people will be too obsessed later on after all of this is over. Maybe people will be very sensitive to anything that they might think is unclean. However, in these strange times, it is better to be safe than sorry. So there are things that I want you to remember and think about during this strange time. And yes, I did this yesterday and I'm doing it again. I make no apologies. Remember, every cloud has a silver lining. Every cloud has a silver lining. Even if things seem bad, you don't have to worry too much about it, because things will always get better. In a bad situation, you can always find that every cloud has a silver lining. There is maybe something positive that you can find from this situation. You can make the best of a bad deal. If you make the best of a bad deal, we are saying that you can do something to, I don't know, break through the problem. Maybe something that you can find that is positive from a bad deal or a bad situation. I suppose also we can say, look on the bright side. You can look on the bright side. I suppose you can look out the window and you can watch the sunshine. Maybe you can get some of the sunshine on your face in your window. You can feel the warmth from the sun. So always try to look on the bright side of life. Do-do, 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 do-do. Another one. Things could always be worse. I suppose this depends on what your situation is currently, but things could always be worse. They always could. And this is my favourite. Don't forget, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Even if you can't see it at the moment, there is always light at the end of the tunnel. So when things seem bad, when things seem gloomy, remember there is always light at the end of the tunnel. Even if that light is far away at the moment, it will eventually appear. Things will eventually get better. That's what I think, and I'm sure you do as well. Hello, Palmyra. Hello, also Faith. Hello, Faith Idiom Channel. Yes, there is always light at the end of the tunnel. I really like that expression. And these are things that I'm saying to you. However, these are also things that I'm saying to myself. So I always try to be positive. I always try to look on the bright side, to find something that I can do. Maybe something that I couldn't do before because I didn't have time. Well, now, of course, we all have plenty of time to do things. So that is my way of thinking, and I hope my way of thinking can help you as well. Mr. Steve is on his way. He'll be with us soon. However, he is in isolation because he was very naughty. He went to see his mother, and now I'm having to keep him very far away from me. Very far away. Sweetness. Hi, Mr. Duncan. I hope you are doing well. I am doing all right. However, when I got home yesterday from my big live stream in the forest, I was thirsty and hungry. Can you guess what I had to eat yesterday when I got home? I had some delicious soup, some lentil soup. Wow, it was so nice. And Steve had got some fresh bread as well. So I had some lovely fresh bread and some soup yesterday after returning from my very long live stream yesterday, which, by the way, you can see on YouTube. It is available. Hello to Pachu. I am safe here, and also it is going to go into lockdown. This is a word that we talked about last week, lockdown. If you have lockdown, it normally means something is cut off, normally involving parts of the population, maybe a small town or sometimes a city. So cities can also be locked down. It normally means that the movement is restricted. You can't move around as much as you normally could. Ondrznik, I hope I pronounced your name right. I am sending you nice greetings from the Czech Republic. I am your faithful viewer. Did you hear about the doctor who had the terrible experience in London? I'm not sure about that story. I haven't read it. I've been trying to stay away from all of the news reports because I've noticed that some of the news is just repeating the same thing. So I don't want to listen to the news all the time. Sometimes you need something that cheers you up. Sometimes you need something that makes you happy. So I'm only looking at the news for very short periods of time. I'm not watching it too much. I like your walks in the wood, Mr. Duncan. Well, I did one yesterday. I had a few technical problems at first because the signal on my mobile phone wasn't very good, for which I apologise. But then after about 8 minutes, I found a new place to stream from, and then everything was all right. So you can find my very long and very interesting and unusual live stream on my YouTube channel. Don't forget also, if you want to give me a lovely like and subscribe, you can. Look, you can like and subscribe. Please, if you like what you see, give me a big thumbs up. That would be ever so nice. Thank you very much. And if you want to get in touch, I also have an email address. I have a Facebook page. And if you want to leave a donation to help my work continue forever and ever and ever, yes, you can. A big hello to all of my lovely subscribers and viewers. Lots of people around the world. Hello to Vietnam. I know I have a lot of new viewers watching in Vietnam. Also, can I send a special hello to my friends in China as well? I know things there have been difficult. Also South Korea, which has had a very difficult time. Not forgetting my lovely friends in Europe as well. A big hello to Italy. I know things are bad there, but I'm really hoping that I can keep you company during this difficult time. And remember, you are not alone. We are all doing very similar things at the moment, including me. So you will see in a moment why this is happening, because Mr. Steve is in isolation. I will show you that in a few minutes. However, we are now going to take a look at one of my English lessons, and I thought today it would be interesting to take a look at one of my lessons that I did many years ago, and this is an excerpt from my lesson all about health and exercise. And then after this, we will have Mr. Steve. Hi everybody, this is Mr. Duncan in England. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you happy? I hope so. In today's lesson we will take a look at two aspects of our lives. One is something we take for granted while it is there, but miss it terribly when it has gone. The other is an activity that we are all encouraged to do, but few of us seem to have the time to carry out. In this lesson, we will take a look at health and exercise. When we talk about our health, we are actually describing two things. First, we refer to our physical health, the way our body is functioning, how well it is working, how all the different parts of your body are functioning. Then we refer to our mental health, how each one of us feels emotionally. If you feel tired after any sudden activity, such as getting up from the sofa and walking a short distance, or feeling out of breath after climbing a few stairs, then there is a good chance that you are out of shape. You are unfit. Your health is poor. There are many words connected to exercise, such as aerobics, exercise that makes the heart beat fast through constant body movement. We call this cardiovascular exercise. Burn. This word is used to express the energy being used up during exercise. Recreation, a general word for any exercise or leisure activity. Keep fit, the act of taking exercise or following a course of exercise routine. There are many simple exercises for keeping fit and healthy. The most popular ones include walking. Yes, just go for a walk. Walk to the end of your street, then around the corner, across the field, up the hill and back down again. Walk in a big circle around the streets and along the roads. Keep on walking until you arrive back home. Oh, you can also jog. Jogging is quicker than walking, but not as fast as running. You can jog to the end of your street, then around the corner, across the field, up the hill, and back down again. Jog in a big circle around the streets and along the roads. Keep on jogging until you arrive back home. Or you can go for a run. 1, 2, 3. Oh dear. Oh, it's okay, I'm just exercising my word power. Please yourself. Believe it or not, it is possible to exercise too much. You can do too much exercise. There are many sporting activities that can give you a vigorous workout and help keep you fit, such as badminton, football, squash, tennis, and volleyball. Another great activity is swimming, which is good for giving you a relaxing all-over body workout as you float in the water, without all that tiring muscle strain. That's better. I hope you enjoyed that. An excerpt from one of my many English lessons that you can find on YouTube. It is Sunday. It is a fun day. It's time to improve your English listening. I hope you are okay. My name is Duncan. I teach English on YouTube, and during this strange period of time that we are all going through, I will be with you as often, as many times as I can. So here I am today with my normal live stream. Don't forget, I am with you on Sunday, Wednesday and Friday. So those are my normal times for my live stream, 2 p.m. UK time. And I will be doing some extra live streams as well, because I have a lot of spare time, and I have a feeling that you might also have a lot of spare time as well. Talking of people with nothing to do. Oh dear. What can we say? Now here is the guy that yesterday he went to visit his mother, because today is Mother's Day. However, I feel that this guy, the man you are about to see, has been very naughty. And what I've done, I've been forced to put him into isolation. His name, well, if you are a regular viewer, you will know exactly who it is. We are talking about Mr. Steve.
Hello everyone. Hello everyone, welcome to the UK. Welcome to my isolation zone. Mr. Duncan, because I went to see my mother yesterday, she's 89, and it was probably a bit naughty because we were told not to visit our elderly relatives, but I think it could be the last chance I get to see her for some time.
Oh.
And I made a lot of extra precautions. We both wore masks and kept a social distance of 2 to 3 meters away.
Wow.
And so, fingers crossed, everything is all right. I'm fit and healthy, so is she, so is my sister, but we are living in extraordinary times. And Mr. Duncan, because I went to visit my mother, has put me in isolation. Well, sort of. He's only a few feet away, but I am about probably 5 meters from you, Mr. Duncan, would you say?
Yes, you are quite a few feet. Maybe, I think you're about 10 feet away.
About 10 feet away, so a nice safe distance.
So let's have a look at one of the photographs, because Mr. Steve was very good yesterday. Well, he was bad and also good at the same time. So even though he went to see his mother, and I wasn't keen on it, because I think maybe these sorts of events should be, well, not done, basically. However, here is a lovely photograph of Mr. Steve's mother on the screen right now. Oh, look at that. There we
go.
There is Mr. Steve's mum. She's
Mum.
She's waving her hands. She's saying hello, and she's wearing her mask. So how was your mother yesterday, Steve?
Well, it's going to be very difficult for all of us to adjust to this new way of living for the next few months. But my mother lives alone, so it's going to be especially difficult for her at her age, and we're all very mindful of that. And we thought, me and my sister yesterday, my sister doesn't live very far from my mother, but we both thought that as long as we take some precautions, then we will go and see her. But it could be potentially the last time we see her for a long period of time if she's going to have to stay alone in her house. So we've got technology. We've set my mother up. She's got a tablet device, and which she sort of can use, but she'll be able to keep in touch with us visually by using that, because it's okay to phone up and speak, which we'll be able to do, of course, because I'm now at home, working from home, so I won't be going out to work, so I'll be able to speak to my mother a lot more, as we all will be able to speak to our relatives who are isolated. And people can phone us, of course, but we've shown Mum how to use her a tablet device so that she can actually see us.
Yes.
She'll be able to, we'll have visual and audio.
Yeah. Well, your mum's
Contact.
your mum's got an iPad, and this is what I was talking about yesterday. How amazing all of this technology is.
Well, without this, we really would be truly isolated. And I don't think people would stay in, but at least for a period, I mean, we don't know yet. It could be a month, 2 months, it could be 3 months. We don't know. Nobody knows what's going to happen. We're all just very afraid because what we've seen happening in other countries is very frightening, and those countries aren't too far away. So we're all waiting to see what happens. We don't know how this disease will progress and what's going to happen. And we're all feeling very much in the dark. Everyone's anxious and worrying, understandably, because we don't know what's going to happen. But we've got to keep safe.
However, Steve,
yes,
there are also positive things because people can, well, first of all, stay at home, maybe with their friends and relatives. Maybe you can get in touch with someone who you haven't spoken to for a long time. So
yes.
A lot of people are complaining about being bored or having nothing to do. But I don't know about you, Steve, but I found loads of things to do.
Well, yes, I've got some books ready to read. I like music, Mr. Duncan, so I'll be learning some new music. I might even try and learn how to play the piano again.
Ooh.
I was thinking I can play it a little, but I'm very rusty. So if you say you're rusty at something, rusty at playing the piano, it means that you're not very good anymore. I never was that good, but I think it's going to be important, Mr. Duncan, to have a routine now that we're stuck indoors. A regular routine. I think I'll get up at the same time as I used to for work. I'll shave, I'll wash, I'll do all the things that I used to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll schedule, depending on how you want to pronounce that word, into my day a series of tasks. I might do a bit of gardening. I might do some reading every day. I might do a bit of playing to practice, learning some music, whatever it is that you want to do. Read a book, watch something on Netflix or Amazon. As long as I think you're scheduling things into your day.
Yes.
Something that at this time I'm going to do this. So we're going to have meals at the usual times, because it's going to be very easy over this period of time to become, without routine and purpose, you become disillusioned and demotivated. And we need to stay emotionally in a positive place as much as we can during this time, so that when it's all over, then particularly mentally, that we're still active and still doing things, and that we can jump back into our jobs or whatever we do.
Yes,
this is unprecedented times.
So this is what I was talking about yesterday. It's getting some sort of exercise, not only for your physical health, but also your mental health as well. The other thing I noticed at the weekend, Steve, which I thought was really good, was Steve, sometimes he has singing lessons, or he has a friend who he goes to and he gives him singing lessons. And I love the fact that the other night Steve was having one of his regular singing lessons. However, he was doing it through his iPad. So he was at one end and his singing teacher was at the other end.
Skype.
Sorry?
We were doing it via Skype.
On Skype, yes. So it very strange, though.
It was very strange, but so a few people have commented about the importance of a routine, and this does keep you relaxed, and it keeps you distracted away from the constant bad news that you see on the television.
Yes.
Because you can watch it. I've had to start resorting to some more meditation, because when I'm starting to feel a bit anxious, then I'm just going into a bit of meditation to try and calm myself down. Because you know what I'm like, Mr. Duncan. I like to be doing things. I like to be busy. And I was talking to my sister this morning, And she's very active. She goes to the gym. She does this. She does that. And she said, it's this. My routine has gone. She said, I'm finding it difficult to adjust because I'm used to doing this on a Saturday, that on a Sunday, this on a Monday, throughout the day, having this routine. And without that, you feel lost. And I think in order to get through this, I'm going to have to very quickly get into some kind of routine of doing something throughout the day. And as you say, Mr. Duncan, this is an opportunity to maybe get in touch with relatives or friends that, because you've been so busy with work, you haven't had a chance to contact. You can learn a new hobby or do something new or up your skills in some area. Don't mean to sound a bit preachy, but in order to get through this, I think, so that we don't turn feral. If you say someone's turning feral, it means they're going a bit wild, like an animal in the wild.
That's normally outdoors, though.
Yes, but it is. But
can you actually go feral in your own house? Well,
I think you can adopt. You could probably adopt the behaviours of somebody who is separated from civilization, because we're very sociable beings, human beings. We like to be social. That's our nature. So if we're deprived of that, then it's almost like being deprived of food, and then part of your psyche is deeply affected by not being in a sociable situation. Of course, some people, one person not too far from here, in fact, some people aren't bothered about that at all. They'll probably just breeze through this as though it's nothing.
You mean like me?
But of course, well, Mr. Duncan, you've got this wonderful opportunity to be able to stay in touch with people through teaching English. And luckily, it's all still working. YouTube are keeping you going, which is great. They're obviously working very hard to keep everything going when their offices are probably empty.
Well, Steve, I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing it also so people have something to do. So it's great. It's a great opportunity. And this is one of the reasons why I do get quite giggly. I do get rather excited when I talk about technology. I think technology is the most amazing thing. Look, I can stand here now in England and I can talk to you all around the world. It's incredible. So here we are all chatting together on the live chat, which of course we haven't mentioned for a while.
No.
So would you like to have a look at the live chat, Steve?
I've got the live chat. If I keep looking down, it's because I'm looking at the live chat. Mr. Duncan's given me a mobile phone here.
Okay.
So a lot of people agreeing with the fact that we need to get into a routine. And I think what I did last night is, before I went to bed, I wrote down a list of things that I want to do. See, Mr. Duncan has his live streams. That's Mr. Duncan's routine. He's going to be able to do that probably every day, or at least nearly every day. But for me, and for a lot of you out there who are used to going to work every day, your routine is to get up 7 o'clock, have breakfast, go to work, come home, get the meal ready, get the children ready for bed, etc. That's our routine, whatever that may be. So go to the gym. So if we're not working, then we've got to adopt a different routine. Otherwise, we're going to get quite stressed. Well, I will. I mean, something very funny. Something, you know, that we've been running out of toilet paper here in the UK, probably in other countries as well. Well, apparently the latest thing that we are running out of in the UK now is paint. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, people are seeing an opportunity through being at home for the next 3 months to do a lot of painting and decorating. And apparently the DIY shops, the do-it-yourself shops where you buy paint, brushes, wallpaper, all that sort of thing for your home, apparently they are packed with people all buying paint here in the UK. Because everyone's thinking, oh, I can paint my bathroom, or I can paint my living room now. I've been meaning to do that for years, and here's the opportunity. So rather than isolating themselves, people are going to DIY shops at the moment.
That's a great idea.
Which I think is a great idea. But at the same time, if you're going to be in a place where there's lots of people, you're going to put yourself at risk.
Yes. But I suppose, Steve, I suppose you could say the same thing about going shopping for food.
Yes, going shopping for food. But as long as we keep this distance, you know, I'm going to take a big stick with me that's 2 to 3 meters in length, and I'm going to have, I think, a great big skirt made.
Oh, okay.
2 meters wide. Remember those big dresses that women used to wear in the 1800s, in the Victorian eras? If you've seen programs about Victorian women in the UK, they wore these giant skirts to keep the men away from them.
Steve, they're called bustles.
Bustles. And they went right out here, and they were designed specifically to make sure that men couldn't come near to them. So if we can all have something like this on, then we'll know that we're keeping a safe distance.
Yes.
Get out your bustles. That's what they used to call it, yes. But yes, everyone's going to be frantically decorating in the UK.
Yes.
So if you come to visit anyone in the UK, there'll be no excuse for having a dirty, unpainted home anymore. Having said that, I'm not sure that breathing in paint fumes is necessarily very good for your lungs.
No.
In protecting you against this virus.
Yes.
I mean, if you're breathing in paint and you've got all these fumes, it might damage your lungs. I'll be a bit concerned about that. Probably is all right, but I would be slightly concerned about breathing in paint fumes at this time.
Anyway, there are lots of other things you can do as well. You can read a book, you can learn a new skill, maybe, something that you haven't done for a long time. Maybe you can try something out that you've been interested in. You can use the computer, of course, because the internet is amazing. We're going to have a look at another picture. So
Can I just say quickly about, sorry, Mr. Duncan, the other thing to get in that I want to get into my routine is exercise. Because we do get a lot of exercise when we're at work. A lot of us are moving around, walking around. You might walk to the bus. You might walk around in the office a lot. A lot of people's jobs, particularly in the catering industry or hospitality, as we call it here as well, then you're moving around a lot and getting a lot of exercise. And if that's suddenly stopped, then it's going to be important to stay fit. So even if you live in a city, which will be more difficult for you to get out if you live in a city, because we know that the police in some countries are stopping people from even going out for a walk. But we're going to have to adapt. We're going to have to do exercise in our rooms and or something, because exercise is going to be important. Because, yeah, sorry, Mr. Duncan, that's something else to add into my routine.
Yes, well, I think exercise probably should be part of everyone's routine of some sort, even if you are just walking around the house for a few minutes. So I would advise anyone out there not to sit still for too long. You can still walk around. You can even watch my live stream whilst you are exercising. So a lot of people in their homes nowadays have exercise machines, or maybe they just find a way of keeping themselves active during the day. So I think exercise is a very big part. And as I mentioned earlier, you can open the window, you can get some fresh air into your house and into your lungs. Maybe if you are lucky enough, like here, today we have lots of lovely sunshine, you can stand by the window and let some of those lovely sun rays hit you on the face. And, well, sunlight is very good for you, and it's also a very good sterilizer as well. A lot of people believe that sunlight is very good for your general health. So not too much, of course, not too much sunlight.
Well, that's something to look forward to, isn't it, Mr. Duncan? Because spring is here. People were commenting, because you did a live stream yesterday, didn't you, while I was visiting my mother. You were in the middle of a wood, surrounded by trees,
yes,
which still don't have the leaves on them yet, because spring has just started here. It's a beautiful day outside, as you can see behind me, and we've got that to look forward to across Europe, at least, and in many parts of the world, certainly in the northern hemisphere. spring is on the way, so we'll have the opportunity, even if we can't go very far, at least we can go outside into the garden, maybe talk to our neighbours across the fence, as long as we're not too close. But
Yes.
at least it's going to be something. I mean, imagine if we were going into winter. I think the prospect of being stuck indoors for 3 months in the depths of winter would be pretty horrible.
Yes. So I think the biggest thing to deal with, Steve, is not necessarily the situation itself, but also making sure that people are safe. I would imagine that keeping active, keeping your mind active, keeping your body active. So if you are in one place, there are many things to do, can I include watching my English lessons as well? I know I am going to be here as often as I can. And here we are today with myself, and also Mr. Steve is here, even though he is very far away from me. I am making sure that Mr. Steve is very much in isolation.
Rolfie asked a question. Do we say the police is stopping people or the police are stopping people?
The police are.
The police are stopping people. You'd never use is, would you, in that sentence?
No.
The police are stopping people.
Unless it's an individual. So you might say the policeman. So you might say the policeman is stopping people.
Yes.
But when you say the police, of course, that is an organisation or group. So it's always are. The police are stopping people. The policeman is stopping people, because that is singular. If we are talking about a group or organisation, quite often we will say are. So the police are. The police are stopping people in the street. I believe in Paris, well, not just Paris, but I believe in France as well, there are restrictions on movement generally. So I think you have to have special papers to move around in France. I'm sure Luis Mendez will tell us if that is true.
Yes, Anna, it is toilet paper I have here. Mr. Duncan put this down here for some reason. I don't know why. I think he's just referring to the fact that still here in the UK, people are panic buying. Do you know, that's something I was watching the news the other night, and they were showing the horrible scenes in Italy, and there's a lot of people from Italy watching today, I've noticed.
Yes.
Having a very hard time in Italy at the moment. And one thing that they commented on was that people weren't panic buying. The shop still had plenty of food for people. And I don't know whether that's true, but this is what was reported on the UK news, that in Italy people were not panic buying. Whereas in the UK, the shops are empty. And many of the supermarkets, people have panic bought and have stripped the shelves of food. And in fact, we've heard reports of some people, like they've got a room which is just full of food. They've put one room aside in their house and just packed it full of food, which is very irresponsible, and it's causing a lot of problems here in the UK at the moment.
Stockpiling.
But it's something that is something that we tend to do in this country. Whenever there's the slightest hint that there's going to be a problem with food, UK people seem to go out and panic buy. It's even when I was a child, they used to do it. If they used to say, "Oh, there's a shortage of wheat," people used to go out and panic buy bread. So we don't seem to stay very calm in this country. But what's it like in other countries? I'd like to know. Are people panic buying in the countries that you're in?
Well, Steve, I have a feeling that it might be unique, certainly to this country. And this is one thing that we do a lot. I think we do tend to panic a little bit too much here in the UK over things. And maybe this is just another thing that we are doing, and we are overreacting. So many of the shops at the moment are telling people not to panic buy, not to rush around buying all the food. Apparently, the warehouses are full of things, full of all of the provisions and all of the things that you will need in your day-to-day life. However, people are taking more than they should, and that's the problem. The problem is the supermarkets cannot restock their things quickly enough. So it always appears as if there is a shortage. However, there isn't. So I have received some emails from, well, the shops that we deal with from time to time, and they've reassured us that there is stock. However, people keep rushing into the shops and buying all of the stuff.
Yes, people are desperate. People are desperate because their sort of animal instincts are kicking in. This fear is, of course, unprecedented. Nobody's ever experienced this. I don't think, certainly in modern civilization, we've never had a situation where everything is shut down practically. I was speaking to my mother who lived through the Second World War as a child, and she said that, you know, even during the war, all the shops stayed open. You could always get food. There was rationing. You had rationing slips. You could only get so much food, but nobody went hungry. But all the shops stayed open, all the restaurants stayed open, all the hotels stayed open. But yeah, this is absolutely unprecedented, and I think that's what is going to prove quite difficult. It's all right now at the first week. We're only into the first week, aren't we, in the UK here?
Yes, here Duncan. It's only just starting, so this is all new for us.
It's all new. We've only been in this sort of state where everyone's been off work, and we've only just recently, the last couple of days. Was it yesterday when we closed restaurants?
Well, Friday.
Friday. So it's all very new to us here. A lot of countries have already had this, and it's going to take. What's it going to be like after 3 months? I mean, they were talking on the news yesterday of maybe this being a year.
Yes. Anyway, Steve, we've got a. That's
very positive.
Yeah. No. Well, no. It's that speculation.
No, I'm just saying that's what they said on the news.
Yes,
that might happen.
That's what they're speculating. However, we don't know. It's all unknown.
We don't know.
It's unknown territory. That's where we are at the moment. I like Sweetness. Sweetness says, no TV, no news for me. I like your style, Sweetness. I must say, yes, that's a very good idea. So no TV, no news for me. I will never watch the TV and the news. Those are all negative things for humanity. Well, that's what I've been doing. I've been avoiding the news. However, I noticed this morning Mr. Steve was watching the news.
Well, I think it's worth keeping up to date with this particular topic because this isn't just something that a lot of news that you see on the television is just bad news and doesn't directly affect you, particularly if it's happening in faraway countries. But I think what we're living through at the moment is something that affects all of us, and I think we probably do need to stay up to date with what's happening, but limit our exposure so that we don't get too down about it.
Yes. Well, if you are in your house and you can't go out, there isn't much that's going to happen, is there, really, in your house? What you need is the news in your house. So here is the latest news from Mr. Duncan's house. There is a spider on the bathroom ceiling, and also we are getting news of a dripping tap in the kitchen.
Well, Mr. Duncan, it's strange you should mention dripping taps.
Okay.
Because since we've been in this state of isolation, everything's going wrong in the house. The heating broke down last week, and we had to call somebody in to repair that. And then on Monday, the cooker stopped working.
The stove stopped working.
The stove stopped working.
Yes, but we know what the problem is there.
I know, but it stopped working, and we have to bash it with our fists to get it to work.
Yes.
And then on Tuesday, I went into the kitchen, Mr. Duncan. There was a big pool of water on the kitchen floor because there'd been a leak, a water leak from the sink area.
Yes.
So
well, that was the dish. That was the dishwasher.
That was the dishwasher. Yes, it is a very old dishwasher, but nevertheless, we don't want to be. We can't call people in to repair them because we don't want people coming in from the outside. We don't know where they've been, what they're carrying. We've got to be safe. So I'm going to have to make these repairs myself. Mr. Duncan won't do it because Mr. Duncan's not very good at DIY.
What?
Mind you, he did fix the cooker.
Sorry.
So Mr. Duncan fixed the cooker wasn't working, and Mr. Duncan went up to it and bashed it, and it started working.
Yes, if you are going to, Steve, just take a deep breath for a second. There are two people on this live stream. Can I just say that I am good at DIY? I spent years and years working as a painter, decorator. I know how to lay bricks, although it can be very painful.
Oh yes, you are good at painting and decorating.
Yes. Well, you just said I was no good at DIY.
I forgot that.
That's a lie. You forgot that, did you? Oh, okay. Fine. Great.
Rolfie says, great news from all this. Nature is recovering from pollution. Animals are in places that they weren't before because of the crowded people. Where was it that they saw dolphins?
I don't know.
I think it was somewhere in Italy.
Was it in my kitchen sink?
No. I can't think of the name of the place now.
That's good.
Lots of canals in Italy.
Yeah.
Come on, Mr. Duncan.
Well, what do you? I don't know what you're talking.
A place in Italy with lots of canals.
You're telling me.
I know. Well, I can't remember the name.
Do you mean Venice?
Yes, Venice. That's it.
You forgot Venice.
Only because I'm it's the pressure of being live. And somebody, it was on the news that they've seen dolphins. In Venice, which they've never seen before because there are so many boats, of course, and everywhere is very busy. So nature will return that quickly. You see, the activities of man stop, and within a few days or weeks, the animals come back to reclaim it.
Yes,
that's nature. That's incredible.
So what are the dolphins doing? Are they sort of going around in gondoliers?
Probably, I don't know, but there was a report. Whether it's true or not, anyone is living in Venice and has seen a dolphin, please let us know.
What I like about Steve is he never verifies anything.
Well, it's just something I've seen on the news.
Yes, okay.
Pedro says, hello, everyone from Spain. Yes, of course, yeah. Not too much panic, says Sassy. We are storing food, but for a week, so as not to have to go out every day. Well, you see, that's sensible. You probably want to buy. You want to limit the amount of time that you are putting yourself in danger by getting close to other people. So you don't want to go out every day for food. I think that's a very sensible thing, Sassy Lyra. Just go out, buy a week shopping, and then you are limiting your exposure.
Yes.
Shall we say?
Well, the thing is that not to panic buy, not to do things in a hurry, not to get too carried away or crazy, and many people are doing this. So we are going to have a look at another photograph with Mr. Steve and his mother yesterday. So here it is now. I'm about to put it on the screen. I love this photograph. What I like about this photograph is that Mr. Steve's mother has sort of pulled her mask down, so her nose is poking out. So here it is. Here is another photograph from Mr. Steve's visit to his mother. That's great. So they are both wearing their masks. Mr. Steve has his mask, and Mr. Steve's mother is also wearing her mask as well. You look very... Well, Steve looks surprised. You look very shocked on that photograph.
I was trying to concentrate on taking the photograph.
Oh,
Well, interestingly enough, people, if they're watching the news, in the UK, not many people are wearing masks. In fact, my mother wanted to get some bird food yesterday, some sunflower hearts, because she wanted to be able to watch the birds while she was at home on her own. So we went out and we went in my car, and I thought it would be best, because when you're in a car, you're quite close to somebody, that we both wore masks. Well, people were staring at us because we were the only people wearing masks. And people aren't adapting to this very well here at the moment. I don't think, probably, I don't know, I don't think we are. So we went out in the car and we were being stared at. People were literally going, pointing at us because we had masks on. And I mean, we're only doing what's advised, but other people aren't paying any attention to this at all at the moment here in the UK. But I wanted to make sure that I was safe and my mother was safe, so I thought it would be best that we both wore them. The mask that I'm wearing isn't a medical mask. It is just a dust mask that you use for DIY. So it's only designed to keep dust out, but at least if you've got something on it, if you sneezed or something like that, it would stop some of the virus getting out. So it would offer some protection.
That's it. So
we don't know, probably not very much, but something's better than nothing.
Yes, the droplets.
The droplets. It would contain some of the droplets. I mean, I didn't sneeze, but even when you're talking, this is the problem, Mr. Duncan. If you are sitting across from somebody, when you are talking, and different languages, the words and the way they pronounce words causes more droplets to be expressed from your mouth. When you, if I go t like a T, if I do that, then the t, every time I do that, small droplets of saliva are coming out of my mouth.
Yes.
And if that saliva is coming, it's got the virus in it, then it's travelling. You can't see it. It's travelling across to the person next to you. And that's where a mask could help, probably. That's why they're advising that we wear them.
I think so.
The picture, there's a bit of a delay on my screen here, so I've just seen the picture of my mother. We were probably too close there. Far too close. That's not social distancing. Don't take my example. But I said to my mother, hold your breath, and then if we're not breathing, we're not putting out any droplets of water. So that's probably would reasonably safe.
Yes. But the reason why you went there yesterday is because today is Mother's Day. So a big hello to all the mothers who might be watching around the world at this very moment. So a big hello to all the mothers around the world, Mr. Steve's mother, also my mother, even though sadly I can't see my mother at the moment because she's being cared for, and the place that is taking care of my mother has said that I can't go there, so I can't even go to see my mother on Mother's Day, which is quite sad really. However, I suppose the precautions are there for a good reason. They are there so we can all survive. In a few moments, Steve, I'm going to look at some words connected to survival.
Oh, I've got a book on survival. Maybe I should get it out. Yes, interesting. We're talking about it's Mother's Day here today. Well, our Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, said this morning on the news that we must not go and visit our mothers on Mother's Day today because we must keep them safe.
You see? That's what I was saying.
So we're being told not to.
Yes. Steve, I was saying the same thing to you.
I know.
And that's the reason. That's the reason why Steve is now in isolation. He's not coming near me. You see, that's why he's locked away near the window.
Sassy says there was a beautiful swan in the canal. So I'm guessing, Sassy, that wasn't there before. So yes, the wildlife is coming back. Sorry if I keep looking down. I'm trying to control the live chat.
Don't worry.
I was panicked about... Yes, okay. Yes, people are... We're all adapting to this new situation, aren't we?
Yes.
Very strange.
It is. This is what I said earlier, and yesterday I said everything is so weird. I've never lived through any of this before. Anyway, Mr. Steve, I'm going to give you a little break.
Thank you.
So I will cut Mr. Steve off for a few moments because we're now going to take a look at one of my full English lessons, and then I will be back and we will be looking at some words and phrases connected to survival. Can you see what I'm wearing over there? These are overalls. We normally refer to them as a pair or set. An overall is an item of clothing that is worn so as to protect a person's body and clothing from damage caused by such things as paint or grease. Some overalls are designed to cover the entire body, while others only protect certain parts. In general, overalls are designed to cover and protect you. They are very easy to put on and take off. Some overalls have lots of pockets on them so as to allow you to safely carry things around with you. The material used to make overalls can be thin and lightweight or very thick and heavy. The thicker overalls offer better protection from things like grease and oil and can prevent skin damage caused by a knock or fall. You can wear lots of clothing under your overalls so as to keep you warm, or if it's a hot day, you can be completely naked under them and wear nothing at all. These overalls are so comfortable. I wish I could wear them all the time. Don't you just hate it when things go wrong? When something you are trying to do goes to pieces? When a project you have been planning for a long time goes awry? To go awry refers to a situation or event that goes off course. The thing you expected to happen did not. It went awry. Something that is not straight or appears crooked can also be described as being awry. The poet Robert Burns once wrote that the best laid schemes of mice and men often go awry, which means however much work and preparation you put into something, there is always the possibility that something will crop up or come along to jeopardize your plans. The problem in question can come from an outside source or through a mistake of your own. Just one false move on your part can damage or destroy what you are doing. It would be fair to say that the more complex the thing you are doing, the higher the chances are that something will go wrong. A problem or difficulty can be described as adversity. This word names anything that is seen as a setback or problem. An obstacle that has to be overcome or a problem that causes disruption and delay is an adversity. An adverse occurrence is adversity. When there is a problem, we can say that there is a catch, glitch, hiccup, hold up, hitch, hindrance, hurdle, setback, snag. There is something wrong. Something has gone wrong. It's all gone pear-shaped. It's all gone to pot. It's all gone a bit wrong. I say it's up, then you say it's down. I give a smile, while you show a frown. I go off to the countryside, while you go off to town. Why do you have to be so contrary all the time? Why do you have to be so contrary? I say it's easy, then you say it's hard. I say hello there, then you say ta-ta. I say front garden, then you say backyard. Why do you have to be so contrary all the time? Why do you have to be so contrary? I say it's black, then you say it's white. I say good morning, then you say good night. I say it's too loose, and you say too tight. Why do you have to be so contrary all the time? Why do you have to be so contrary? I say go to Mallorca, but you prefer Corfu. I want to cheer, while you start to boo. I feel like eating salad, but you want a hot thick stew. Why do you have to be so contrary all the time? Why do you have to be so contrary? I nod my head in agreement, while you shake yours in disgust. I warmly greet new people, while you view them with distrust. I want a world of freedom, but you don't care if it's unjust. Why do you have to be so contrary all the time? Why do you have to be so contrary?
Dip-a-dip-a-dip-a-doo-doo. Here we are then. Yes, it's Sunday. It is a fun day. It is time to improve your English. We have been with you for 1 hour and 25 minutes, and I will be with you for another 35 minutes. Yes, we are live right now on YouTube. I hope you're having a good day today. Joining me also is Mr. Steve. We will be rejoining Steve, who is in isolation, in a few moments. However, we are also going to look at words connected with survival. And I thought that this is an interesting one. Yes, an interesting word. Let's put it on the screen now, shall we? There it is, just above my head. Survival. I think this is a good buzzword for this particular period of time. Lots of people are looking out for themselves. They are trying to take care of themselves. They are trying to survive. So when we talk about survival, we are generally talking about the way in which we take care of ourselves to ensure that one will endure and survive, to ensure that one will endure and survive. So I like this sentence. Ensure, there it is. The word ensure means to make sure. You make sure that something stays in a certain way. So you make sure that you will endure and survive. So if you endure something, it means you get through it. You can handle it. You can bear the difficulty. You can take the strain. You endure. And, of course, survive. So when we talk about the word survival, that is basically what we are saying.
The actions that will ensure your well-being is survival. So the things you do to protect yourself, you are trying to survive. You are ensuring your survival. The actions that will ensure your well-being. I love that word, well-being. So when we talk about a person's well-being, what we are actually saying is how well they are, how fit they are. And quite often we think of a person's well-being as their health, be it mental health or physical health. Mr. Steve is still with us, don't worry. Yesterday he was visiting his mother. Here she is again on the screen. Oh, isn't she lovely? I love Mr. Steve's mother. She is one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. And of course, we also have Mr. Steve. There he is. Hello, Steve.
Oh, you're back to me. Are we back?
I did literally say hello, Steve.
Caught me unawares then. I'm sitting like a newsreader in a power position. Do you like it, Mr. Duncan?
You have we call that professional intensity.
Professional intensity. I could read the news, couldn't I, Mr. Duncan?
I think so.
Somebody's made a comment. Naomi has made a comment, if I can bring it back up. There we go. Naomi Al-Sur says, Mr. Steve, tell your mother that she have to put the mask covering her nose. Well, that's a good thing that you noticed there, because yesterday my sister kept telling my mother, you must put the mask over your nose, which of course is true, but it was a bit difficult, I think. They're very uncomfortable wearing masks for a long period of time, so I think mother kept slipping it down so that she could breathe properly, because they are very uncomfortable. There's a lot of humidity. It just feels horrible wearing them. But,
yes. Well, can I just say, Steve, I don't like wearing masks. I don't like it. I don't like the feeling. It feels like I'm being suffocated.
Exactly. Now, you used the word survival, Mr. Duncan.
Mm-hmm.
And I found a book. I purchased this book many, many years ago. It must be 20 years old, Mr. Duncan, because I saw it in a second-hand shop. And I thought, that looks interesting. Can I show it?
Yes.
It's called the SAS Survival Book. Can you see that, Mr. Duncan?
Yes.
Now, this is SAS. What the SAS means. That refers to a special air services. It's a branch of the armed forces that do all these specialist tasks. And this particular man was obviously in this specialist armed force division, and he wrote this book on survival.
What's his name?
John Lofty Wiseman. I think he must have been tall.
You know what I think?
If you say somebody is lofty,
yeah,
it means that they're tall.
So I think, Steve, there is a chance that this guy used to be a soldier.
He was a soldier, and he's written a book on how to survive. Now, interestingly enough, I was looking through this. I've never really looked at this book, but I bought it because it tells you how to tie all sorts of knots, how to kill animals and track them, how to skin a rabbit, and all these sort of things. If you were stuck out in the wild and you needed to survive, if you broke your leg, how could you make a splint so that you could get to civilization and get to a hospital, which plants you can eat. It's all in this book. And there is an interesting section on diseases. And it actually tells you, I'm not going to read it out, but it tells you what to do if you're in a group of people and somebody gets sick due to an infection. It talks about that you must isolate them and you must wash everything, and hands should be thoroughly washed after treatment. Avoid splashing with mucus from somebody.
Yeah.
So there's all this in here telling you how to respond when somebody's got a disease. But at the beginning of the book, there's a warning.
Mm-hmm.
It says the survival techniques described in this publication are for use in dire circumstances. where the safety of individuals is at risk. And it's actually talking about what to do in the event of an infection due to an unknown disease.
Yes.
So it's in this book, in dire, and that's what we are now in, dire circumstances. Would you like to explain the meaning of the word dire?
Yes, well, if something is dire, I suppose we could say that it is very severe. So maybe a severe situation, or maybe something that has to be dealt with in a very serious and stern way. So
urgent.
Yeah, urgent.
Very urgent, possibly life-threatening.
Yes. In fact, we have some words here that I'm going to show, because I did show some words a few moments ago. So we had the actions that will ensure your well-being. Also, we said the survival of the fittest. Now,
yes.
this is a very interesting phrase. So when we talk about survival of the fittest, what we are actually talking about is the survival of, well, I suppose, I don't want to say the strongest, but unfortunately, quite often we think of the strongest surviving during a bad period of time. So
yes.
the survival of the fittest, which is why it's important to stay healthy.
Sorry, Mr. Duncan, go on.
When it's important to stay healthy when there is a serious event or something serious taking place.
Well, the term survival of the fittest, I think, could well have been a term that was coined by famous evolutionary person, Charles Darwin, to describe what happens in the wild, that the fittest tend to survive with wild animals, because that's the only way you survive, isn't it? If you're stronger, fitter, your immune system is more powerful, then you're going to be the animal or the organism or the plant that survives. And it's a harsh term, but why did that term come up, Mr. Duncan?
Well, I'm talking about survival.
Yes.
I'm talking about words connected to survival and how to survive. So we often say survival of the fittest. Charles Darwin discovered that in the wild, amongst animals, you will find that the fittest quite often are the ones that survive the longest. I suppose when you think about it, it's kind of, well, it's almost common sense when you think about it, because the survival of the fittest, well, the fittest tend to be the strongest, I suppose. Here's another one. I like this one. Here's another one. If I can get it on the screen. To thrive. I like this word, to thrive. If you thrive, well, it means you go on surviving. You are thriving. You go on to survive. So I like this one, thrive. I like this very, very much. So to thrive is to go on surviving.
To do very well.
Yes.
So if you, in a job situation, you could say a person thrives in a certain environment, couldn't you? So if you are a person that is, for example, if you were a presenter and you were good at it, you could, or any job that you are good at, that you like doing and you're confident in, somebody might say that you are thriving in that job or thriving in that environment. You're just doing very well and being very successful because it's something that you're very capable of doing.
And also a good word that connects to survival. We also have...
Exactly, yes.
Here's another one.
A plant will thrive. You can say that a plant thrives if it gets plenty of light and the soil is good quality for it to grow. A tree is that tree is thriving in that corner of the garden. It's getting lots of sun, lots of water, and of course that also refers to people. So
when we say strive, I've put it on the screen now. We have the strength of survival. So to thrive is the strength. So you find a way to survive, quite often whatever it takes. So you might thrive by doing whatever it takes to survive, as quite often happens in the wild. So when we look at animals, I'm sure we've all watched documentaries, David Attenborough normally, here in the wild of Much Wenlock, you can see Mr. Duncan and Mr. Steve are looking for food. They are looking everywhere. Mr. Duncan likes to eat chocolate. Mr. Steve is very keen on eating grain and health food.
Mr. Duncan, chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday I noticed, I was watching your live stream yesterday. Well, I was watching it this morning. And somebody said that they were obviously isolating at home. I don't know which country they were from, but they had run out of chocolate. What a disaster.
That is.
I can't think of anything worse. I don't mind running out of bread, water, milk, coffee, meat.
Anything.
But to run out of chocolate, well, that's just a disaster.
It's like a crime.
That just, I mean, how will you survive this?
No.
3 months of isolation without chocolate. It's unthinkable.
Of course. Of course, Steve, there might be a positive side to this because I might lose a little bit of weight, you see. So who knows? This might be the thing that I need to help me cut down on the amount of chocolate I eat.
Well, do you know what made me amused? Made me laugh the other day when I went out to get some shopping.
Mm-hmm.
We had nearly run out of milk, had we not, Mr. Duncan?
Yeah.
So I went to the local shop because there were reports of panic buying, that there was not any milk left.
So you panicked as well.
So I thought, well, we were down to our last bottle of milk.
Okay.
So I thought, all right, I'll go out and get some. So I went out to the shop and there was no milk at all, apart from one whole shelf full of full fat milk.
Mm.
There was no skim milk, there was no semi-skim milk. Everyone had bought the skim milk and the semi-skim milk and left the whole fat milk, which made me laugh because we're facing a deadly virus and people are worried about a little bit of whole milk. I thought that was hilarious. They're worried about their arteries furring up. Oh, I mustn't have whole milk. That's bad for me.
Yes.
I can only have semi-skimmed.
Steve, I have another logical...
I thought that was hilarious.
Yes.
There's a deadly virus around and
Okay.
people are worried about whole milk.
Yeah.
There were shelves of whole milk.
Yes.
I could have had like 10 gallons of whole milk if I wanted to.
You paint a very vivid picture there.
I just thought it was hilarious.
Yes, but there is a sensible reason because that milk will go sour. So the long life milk, Steve, will last longer.
No, but
So
I
you
was
can
on
keep-
about just generally milk. There was no long life semi-skimmed.
No.
There was no long life pasteurized.
Yes.
Sorry, there was no type of milk apart from full fat milk.
Yes. Okay.
Isn't that ridiculous?
I don't know. Is
Yes,
it?
I think it is.
I'm not sure if it is ridiculous.
Because people are, even there's a deadly virus around and people are choosing what milk to get.
Okay.
And they're thinking, oh, I better not get the whole milk because that's bad for me.
Yes.
There's too much fat in it. I wouldn't worry about the amount of fat in milk. It's the least of your worries.
Is
at the
it really
moment.
that? I'm just amused by how hilarious. you
I
think-
just found it amusing
Okay.
that people were worrying about the amount of fat in their milk at this time.
Yes. Well, I suppose people have different ways of looking at health. People have their own views of what is healthy and what isn't, I suppose. We are looking at words connected to survival. So we've looked at quite a few. We can also say strength or survival in a certain situation. Now, this is almost talking about what we are talking about today. So survival in a certain situation. So maybe something comes along that you have to survive. Maybe something comes along that is a situation that you weren't prepared for, something you didn't expect to happen. So quite often we will say survival in a certain situation, or maybe, I suppose also we could say survival rate. So survival rate and survival in a certain situation. Well, when we say survival rate, what would you say that was? What would you say that was, Steve?
Me? Survival rate, yes, it just means how many people, maybe a percentage, you could express that as a percentage of don't want to sound, I don't want to talk about human beings, really.
No, well, just generally what the words mean.
Yes,
so
survival rate, it just means you normally express that maybe as a percentage or one in so many people.
Yes.
So you could say 1 in 100 people, as for example, will survive. That would be a survival rate, would be 1 in 100.
Or just a number.
Or 1 in 1,000, or 1 in 100, you could express that as 1%. Yes, survival rate. And that can apply to jobs. You can say that they used to quite often use that phrase for people in difficult jobs. If you worked in the stock market, for example, they used to say there's only a survival rate of 10% because it's such a difficult, stressful job. Not many people can survive that pressure, constant pressure. Or if you're learning to become a doctor, a difficult job like that, only so many people will survive the course. And if you were training in the army, for example, you might want to use that phrase there to express how many people make it through.
That's it.
To the other side of the course.
So to get through something is basically survival. And here's another one. I like this one. So here we go. Those who survive a difficult situation are the survivors. So I would say that makes perfect sense. It is a much clearer way of expressing what that actually means. So those who survive a difficult or stressful situation are the survivors. They are the people that come out the other end. So in that case, we are saying those who made it through. And I would imagine that many people will be survivors. Normally in life, we might describe a person who is always able to find their way out of a difficult situation. We can say that they are a survivor.
Yes,
or maybe,
Mr. Duncan.
Or maybe we can say that they are a born survivor. So maybe a person who is very good at taking care of themselves. We can say that they are a born survivor. Steve?
Yes, so some people seem to have a lot of bad luck in their lives. We all know people like this. They keep losing jobs, being sacked from jobs, or being made redundant, or they have tragedy in their life, but they just keep going. They don't give up. They keep going. And you sometimes say about somebody, "Oh, they're a survivor." They're one of life's survivors. So no matter what adversity comes along, what difficulty comes along in their life, they carry on, they adapt, and they somehow find a way to carry on, whereas other people might not. They might just give up. They're a survivor. John's a survivor. He's been through a lot of difficulty in his life, but he's carried on and kept going, and he's okay now. So we don't necessarily mean from disease. We mean from just everyday life, just keeping a job, surviving, paying your mortgage, that sort of thing. And some people, we all know people who seem to have lots of bad luck, and they get a lot of adversity in life, but they just keep going, and we say they're survivors. Rolfie, interesting comment here. 6 days in quarantine so far and already made friends with a rat. I think I'm going to keep it as my pet. I think, Rolfie, you're already losing it.
I of all the things to make friends with,
Well,
maybe an animal that is well known for carrying diseases.
exactly.
Yes.
Plague. Rats famously carried bubonic plague.
Yes. So maybe, Rolfie, I think maybe that isn't such a good idea.
I'd stay away from that. Well, maybe if you're just watching it from your window, that's fine.
Yes.
And it is nice, isn't it, Mr. Duncan, to recognise animals the same animals every day. You sometimes notice certain birds that come into the garden, or certain animals that come into the garden, squirrels, and you recognise them as the same one. And it's nice to see them. And that's something else that can keep your spirits up in this time of when we're all isolating, is to try and see nature and have a look out of the window and notice what's going on, because we were so busy in our lives, we just dash around everywhere and we don't notice what's actually happening very close to us. Birds, animals, the weather, the clouds. I mean, just watching the clouds is very relaxing. But yeah, so we might all notice things as the pace of life slows down for us all.
Yes. Well, again, that's a positive thing. That's something you could take away from that and say, this is actually quite a positive thing, because now I can take time, I can actually sit and I can actually appreciate certain things that exist around me. So maybe things that I didn't notice before because I was always in such a hurry.
Yes.
I was always trying to get from one place to another. So now I can relax. Even though I'm at home, I can't go out very far. I can still look out my window, and maybe you will see things that you've never noticed before because you've always been so busy.
That's something that I want to do. Spend more time in the here and now, more time here rather than in here, thinking about things that have happened in the past, things that may or may not happen in the future. And while you're doing all that, you're missing the present moment. And maybe we can all now slow down and just watch an ant crawling over the kitchen table.
Yes.
And see where it goes and what it does.
Yes.
Mindfulness, that's the buzzword at the moment, Mr. Duncan. Mindfulness. There's lots of books on that and videos.
Steve, can I just say that of all the people I know, you might be one of the least mindful people. Quite often, Steve seems to exist in another world. I might say something sometimes to Steve, and then a few seconds later, he will ask me a question, and I've literally just told him the actual thing that's happening.
Yes, because my mind is always elsewhere.
Yes, I know.
And that is not a good way to be. I think it's okay to think about things, but if you can end up getting into the habit of spending too much time thinking about past events, as I say, future events that may or may not happen, and then you miss what's actually going on. The only real moment is now. Anything that's happened 10 minutes ago is gone. And something that may happen in the future hasn't happened and may not happen anyway. And so that's what mindful. I mean, I've been looking at this to try and change the way I think, to try and because it's stressful when you're thinking in your head all the time. It actually causes stress because your mind works overtime. So that's why I like coming on these live streams, Mr. Duncan, because I literally you have to be present in the moment, the here and now, to be able to do this.
Yes.
I can't be sitting there wandering off thinking about something that happened yesterday or something that might happen tomorrow or I might want to do tomorrow.
Even though, Steve, earlier you did drift away. I must admit, Steve did drift away slightly. So he seemed to go in his own world when I activated the camera. And I even said, "Hello, Steve," and he was still in his own world.
I've got an excuse. I was reading all about the on the live chat, which is very busy, Mr. Duncan.
Yes.
The live chat, I cannot keep up with the number of messages. It's wonderful.
Yes, and can I say something, Steve? Jamelia has just said something which I think is very important, and I've completely forgotten all about it. In a few weeks' time, well, maybe, I think it's next month, it will be Easter.
Wow.
And of course, we all know what happens at Easter. People will eat lots of chocolate eggs.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about religion then, Mr. Duncan.
No, I wasn't.
Well, for a lot of people, the religious aspects of Easter are important, but for us, it's all about the chocolate.
It's all about the chocolate. Forget about the religious part. All I want to do is stuff lots of Easter eggs into my big mouth.
There we go. That's real stories here. We're getting lots of real stories on the live chat. Somebody earlier talked about their stress and anxiety at having, I think it was asthma, worried what might happen if they catch this virus. There's a real story. And another real story is somebody here, Maria, is a web designer, and it's hard to survive when you're a freelancer because the work is starting to dry up. That's the other very upsetting aspect of this is the effects on the economy and the number of people who are being laid off work currently because of all the shops that have closed, the hospitals are open. Oh, definitely. The hotels.
Just make sure.
The restaurants.
Can I just reassure you, the hospitals in the UK are still open.
Well, I mean, I wonder. I mean, a lot of people they don't know how many people are going to lose their jobs, and of course, there's all sorts of the governments are trying to put packages in place to try and support people financially through this.
Yes.
But they're also now in the UK wanting volunteers. Volunteer, somebody who does something that's unpaid in order to benefit the community at large in these troublesome times. And they want people to volunteer. They're asking retired doctors and nurses to come back to work. They're asking for people who will man phone lines because to help with the emergency services, the number of people that are calling in. They want people to help with delivering food to particularly elderly people that are stuck at home and can't get out. They reckon there's about 1.5 million very vulnerable people who've got specific diseases who really have to stay in, and they cannot go out. They must not go out. So we're going to have to support each other and to help everybody get through this.
Yes.
Maybe go out and buy some food, knock on the door and then leave it on the doorstep, that sort of thing. So they're after volunteers now to help everybody get through this.
Well, I always find that these situations, they often bring out the best in human beings and in people. And of course, I suppose from my point of view as well, I have to be careful because I also suffer from asthma. However, these days my asthma isn't so bad. However, yes, I suppose I should think of that as well from my own point of view. But fortunately, at the moment, my asthma is not present. Fortunately, it has subsided. But yes, if there are any people out there who would like to volunteer their time to bring some Easter eggs to my house, so I have lots of Easter eggs to eat during the forthcoming Easter festival, the festival of Easter. So I can sit in front of the television and I can watch Columbo and I can eat all the Easter eggs that I can.
Well, you don't want to get diabetes, Mr. Duncan, because that's one of the vulnerable conditions that would make you vulnerable to this virus.
Yes.
Watching from Spain, says Adair, everything will pass. And you are absolutely right. It will. It could be 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, a year, but it will pass and life will return to normal. And we'll get over it because that's something that the human condition is very good at surviving and and forgetting about traumatic past events quite often. And it will. We will get over it together.
There is light at the end of the tunnel. That's what we say.
That's right. There's so much live chat, I just can't keep up with it, Mr. Duncan.
I can see.
Have you already stocked up on any chocolate Easter eggs, Mr. Steve? No, not yet. But, I might have a surprise for Mr. Duncan. So don't say anything.
Oh.
But yes. We're not going to get too many because it is unhealthy.
Yeah.
But we will. But we need some comfort food, I think, at the moment.
Yes.
And chocolate will be one of those. Well, Mr. Duncan, before Angela was listening to you as she was driving, and she's now on her sofa. So what have you driven your car into your sofa, into your living room?
Maybe the sofa is in the car.
Oh, I'm having trouble with this live chat, Mr. Duncan.
Are you? I have a feeling that Mr. Steve's big fingers, Mr. Steve has huge fingers. Mr. Steve has fingers like a bunch of bananas. So when he's operating anything that needs to be done carefully, unfortunately, his big fingers just... he has no control.
I do a lot of that. I have got big fingers.
It's true.
You know what they say about people with big fingers?
Big gloves.
Oh, quick-brained. You're a very quick-brained person, Mr. I would say Mr. Duncan has got a very quick brain. Quick. It means he can think on his feet. He can come up with answers to things very quickly and funny quips.
Yes. I'm very good at responding.
That's right. Very quick brain. I just can't keep up to date with the live chat.
We've noticed.
It's just amazing. How many people are watching today, Mr. Duncan?
Millions.
Millions. Yes, there we go, says Irene. Apraxine, hello. It's important to live in the present, not to worry too much about the future.
That's true.
Yeah, absolutely right. We don't know what's going to happen in the future, and many people have tried to make predictions about what might happen in the future, and they're very often wrong. But when they are right, they tell everybody about it to try and make themselves seem important.
Yes, I think this is one of the problems at the moment, that people are listening to things that are being said on the internet, and quite often the things are not accurate, or maybe the news is not even real. So it is a strange time where we have to be very aware of what we read, what we see, the things we hear from other people. So sometimes they can be accurate and sometimes they can be inaccurate. Guess what, Steve?
What's that?
It's 4 o'clock nearly.
Does that mean it's nearly time for a cup of tea?
Yes.
And, well, we would say tea cake normally, but we're having... what are we having? Hot cross buns. Somebody said earlier that they thought I was getting Alzheimer's. They could be right.
Yes. It's something.
Lewis says, no, I think it's Irene says, there isn't time like the present. That's not the way you would say that phrase. You would say there's no time like the present.
Or, of course,
is the opposite of what you've written. Sorry to correct you, but this is an English
that's okay.
So I hope you don't mind me correcting you there. So you say there's no time like the present.
Yes, there is no time like the present. And, of course, there is no present like time.
There's no present like getting some chocolates.
Ooh.
Using present in a different way, of course.
Yes. So now can be the present, or also we can say a gift, something that is given to you can also be a present as well. It's almost time for us to go, unfortunately. So Steve will be leaving us soon, and I will be going as well, because we have hit 4 o'clock here in the UK. I hope you've enjoyed today's live stream. I will be, maybe, I'm not sure at the moment, because I might take a rest tomorrow, because I have been doing live streams every day for the past few days. So I might have a rest tomorrow. However, I might appear on your computer screens sometime during the day, but maybe not for a long time, okay?
What's the weather going to be like tomorrow, Mr. Duncan? Have you seen the forecast?
No, I haven't yet, Steve.
Because I'm just wondering, it's nice and sunny out there today. Shall I go and cut the grass for the first time this year?
Okay.
Because it's starting to grow, or shall I wait for until tomorrow? I think I'll wait until tomorrow because we want to go for a walk.
Yes.
We'll have to stay 3 metres apart at all times, but we will go for a walk, I think.
So after we've finished the live stream, so we will have a cup of tea, we will have a tea cake, and also we are going to have a little walk as well. Maybe we will have the walk first. What do you think, Steve?
Yes, I think so. And then we will reward ourselves for our efforts by having a nice sticky bun when we come back.
A nice tea cake, or, Mr. Steve, we might have, I think hot cross buns. We've got both, to be honest. But I think today we will have a hot cross bun because Easter is coming. Thank you, Steve. Thank you very much for your company today, Steve.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan. And thank you also. The expression everybody's using now is stay safe or keep safe. I've noticed that in a lot of texts from my friends. So I'm going to say that to you all out there. Keep safe, stay safe, and see you sometime soon. You'll see Mr. Duncan before you see me.
Yes, I think so. Thank you, Steve.
Bye-bye.
That is Mr. Steve. He has gone. Oh, thanks a lot, Steve. I did enjoy that. Something slightly different today because I've put Mr. Steve in isolation. I have isolated him away from everything else because he went to see his mother yesterday. And so I just want to make sure that he hasn't brought anything back, just to be on the safe side. It's almost time to go. Thank you very much for your company. We are completely out of time. I am going. We will have a little walk. I'm going to get a little bit of sunshine on my face because at the moment outside the weather is absolutely glorious. Look at that. So there is the view outside right now. That is what England looks like at this very moment. The sun is out. There is a gentle breeze. It is chilly, but pleasant. I think that is the best way of describing the weather right now. And I hope you will stay safe, stay happy. Don't forget, keep calm and wash your hands. And the most important thing of all to remember is you are not alone. I will try to be here as often as I can. And of course, we can all join in together on the live chat and share our experiences of this very unusual period of time. So I hope you've enjoyed today's live stream. Thank you, Beatrice. Thank you, Mercedes. Thank you also, Lewis, Valentin, Hiroko. Thank you very much for your lovely company today. Sweetness, also Anna, and Netra, Manila, Maria. See you later. Maybe tomorrow, although I might be having a little rest. I need to rest my voice because I think I am starting to wear it out. And of course, I will be back. I think I will come back on Tuesday, definitely. And then, of course, I will be with you on Wednesday as usual. Don't forget, I do everything for free here. So I will hold out my hand and I will say, if you want to make a donation, you are more than welcome to do so. So you can make a donation to help me through this very strange time because I will be with you as often as I can. And don't forget, everything I do is free. I charge nothing. For 14 years, I've been doing this on YouTube and it doesn't cost you anything. However, if you want to make a small donation or even a large donation, you are more than welcome to do so. This is Mr. Duncan in the birthplace of English saying thanks for your company today. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much for all of your lovely messages and your continued support as well. I really do appreciate it. This is Mr. Duncan once more saying thanks for watching. See you later. Take care. Stay healthy. Stay happy. And of course, before I go, you know what's coming next. Yes, you do. Ta-ta for now.